Smoke, ash, fire, destruction. Over the past months, dozens of catastrophic wildfires have raged across the western United States, destroying more than 5 million acres of land in California, Oregon, and Washington, and killing at least 36 people since early August. Officials estimate that damage to structures has been minimal, but residents who are being evacuated from Washington all the way to Los Angeles have been devastated by the destruction.
Our main focus at the National Interagency Fire Center is providing support logistically and managerial support to the agencies that represent wildland fire.
Today, people have to check the air quality before going outside and keep an emergency kit near their front door or inside their car if an emergency comes up. Firefighting resources have been strained by the worst fire season in California history.
You get the stress of having to evacuate until we could contain it, obviously. Like, that's a big impact, and so that's a fiscal impact, economic impact, all that stuff. So as far as like our communities, it just puts it puts us working more, so we're away from home a little bit more. So it's just the stress of leaving home and then going back out. But it's mostly just stressful. That's probably the biggest one.
The planet warmed up by a global average of roughly 2.1 degrees Fahrenheit since the 1880s. Each of the 6 past years were at least 1.8 to 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the historical average.
About a month ago, literally to the day, we began to have a series of 14,000 lightning strikes over a 3-day period. 1,100 fires have sparked in the last month. 2.8 million acres just in the last 30 days have burned. Unprecedented in California history. 3.2 million over the course of this calendar year.
But as temperatures rise due to global warming, the atmosphere can efficiently pull more moisture out of the leaves, pine needles, and forest floors. Without the precipitation to compensate, this can create ideal conditions for a wildfire. Wildfires depend on conducive fire weather and fuel. Conducive fire weather are dry conditions together with lightning and wind. Fuel would be the dead trees, dried out leaves, and any other material that can burn up. In California, a drought over the past decade killed millions of trees. In addition, mountain regions that are normally cooler and wetter dried out more rapidly in the summer. After weeks of public silence about the flames, Donald Trump flew to California, attributing the crisis solely to poor forest management, not climate change.
And I see again the forest fires are starting. They're starting again in California. I said, you gotta clean your floors, you gotta clean your forests. They have many, many years of leaves and broken trees, and they're like so flammable. You touch them and it goes up.
Trump has threatened to withhold federal aid from California and other states if they do not change forest management policies.
I think there's an area of at least commonality on vegetation forest management, but please respect, and I know you do, the difference of opinion out here as it relates to this fundamental issue on the issue of climate change.
Absolutely.
Furthermore, climate change became the main subject in the race for the White House as former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr. called President Trump a climate arsonist.
So I think one area of mutual agreement and priority is vegetation management. But I think we want to work with you to really recognize the changing climate and what it means to our forests, and actually work together with that science. That science is going to be key, because if we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
Okay, it'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
Scientists say human activities resulting in global warming have driven up global temperatures. The global warming and cost of pollution through greenhouse gas emissions results from the entire human population and environment. Studies have shown, in addition to becoming more frequent, climate changes will affect fires in becoming more destructive, carrying enormous environmental, financial, and health consequences for communities.
After fires, you have scorched earth that leads to a less pervious surface. So when water falls, it doesn't penetrate the ground, causes more runoff. So you get more flooding, more debris flow. So all of it builds upon itself. So all these events that are occurring, I think there's broad science and consensus among scientists that climate change is real, and we're seeing the effects of it now.
Not reducing carbon emissions will lead to the wildfires getting worse. A discussed possible solution has been to price carbon by charging emitters for the quantity of carbon dioxide they release into the atmosphere.
So the first thing we have to do is not just get to carbon neutral. That's a laudable goal, but there's already a lot of carbon that's trapped in the atmosphere. We actually have to start thinking about how do we start sequestering and neutralizing that carbon that's already in the atmosphere. That's going to take using science and research and development to think about, what kind of methods can break that carbon down. There's also, natural ways to sequester carbon. I'm a big fan of planting more trees. That won't do it, but trees are a natural way of sequestering carbon out of the atmosphere as well.
However, last year, Mr. Trump decided to issue an executive order directing agencies to cut down more trees. On the opposing side, Mr. Biden proposed spending $2 trillion over 4 years to escalate the use of clean energy and ultimately phase out the burning of oil, gas, and coal.
I just want to thank everybody. It's been pretty amazing. In August, I approved a major disaster declaration for California. I've approved, I think, Gavin, about 40 Stafford Act declarations, so very quickly, because we want to get this thing taken care of, including fire management assistance grants to help multiple states stop the fires.
Lately, the smoke has slowly been disappearing and more wildfires have been put out. Thank you to all the firefighters and representatives risking their lives and contributing to the elimination of the fires to help those who have been affected by the devastation.